I think it's common to regret the things that you don't do rather than the things that you actually do.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because when I started Instagram, it was 6 years ago.
Welcome to English with Lewis. Let's go!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to a native English conversation between myself, Lewis, and a special guest that I'm sure you've seen, and I'm sure you love him. His name is Happy English, but he has a real name too. So, Sam, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Lewis. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Yeah, many people do know me as Pappy English, but my name is, in fact, Sam, for anybody who wants to call me by my real name.
Amazing. So I asked you this when we connected a week ago, because I was curious too. Why Happy English? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so a lot of people think it's Pappy because of some kind of Spanish. Pappy means daddy. They think, daddy English. There's kind of some kind of hidden meaning there. But actually, it's Pappy English. I did start Pappy English in Spain like 6 years ago, something like that. And at the time, I was trying to think of a name with my friend. And for some reason, we used to call each other Papi. Like, not just me, but like some guys I hung out with were like, hey, Papi, ¿qué pasa? Like, what's up, Papi? Like, this kind of thing. We were trying to copy maybe some of the Latin American people in Spain. Like, this is what they said. So my friend was insisting that I used Pappy English when I was creating the name for the channel, for the Instagram account at the time. And I was like, no, I can't. Pappy English, it's silly. I can't do Pappy English. But in the end, he persuaded me. But I said to him, okay, we'll do Pappy English as the name, but Pappy stands for practice and perfection in English, Pappy English. But nobody realizes that is the name or the reason for the name. So people just think, Pappy, okay, that's the name.
So just going over that, that's practice and perfection in English, was it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, perfect, Pappy.
Exactly.
Excellent. So obviously you make videos on YouTube and on Instagram. Your name is Pappy English. Why did you start doing this? What was the initial motivation for uploading educational content for learners to improve their English for free?
Well, I was an English teacher. I still am an English teacher, I guess. I was teaching English in schools. I was working in Spain at the time. I think I was on my fourth year of teaching English in schools. And actually, it came about because I was a little bit lost in what to do with my life or my career. There are not always that many opportunities or obvious opportunities in English language teaching. Like you can go and travel to, actually, we're very, very lucky. We can go traveling all over the world and teach English, which is really cool.
Terrible job, God damn it.
Yeah, but like as like a kind of career progression, I was like, okay, what can I do? So I had this idea with a friend of mine. We both started working on like social media projects. So for his career, which was something completely different, and for my career, we kind of supported each other to start pushing ourselves to make videos on Instagram, which then at the time, I don't think it was as common as it is now. I think at the time, like Instagram was a lot of photos, but now like there are lots of Instagram is mostly videos. So at the time it was very like intimidating. I'm sure it's intimidating for people who start doing it now as well. But I learned a lot from making videos, and it led me to many different places and good things as well. So
no, it's interesting. An expression that comes to mind right now is that you bit the bullet. You thought like, I'm teaching, I don't really know what to do, where to go, I'm traveling, but like, how can I progress? So you thought, forget the fear, let's start uploading, and you bit the bullet. So you forgot about this fear and you just did it. And how long ago was this?
I think it was 6 years ago. Honestly, I'm in my 30s now, and I'm getting to the age where everything's a bit of a blur, and I don't remember when and like each thing was. But yeah, I think it was 6 years ago. And yeah, I remember I was teaching at a school, And I really did bite the bullet because I like cut my hours at the school and earned significantly less money and basically lived off very, very little, but with the risk of producing content and that it would pay off further down the line. So it was a bit of a risk, but it paid off.
It's great. I think this is what happens with entrepreneurs and a lot of the teachers who upload content to YouTube and Instagrams. We are entrepreneurs at the end of the day. And sometimes you need to take risks. And if you're always putting it off and procrastinating and saying, maybe next year, or maybe when I'm 30, then in the end, you might have regrets. I know in my case, I only started uploading content like less than 2 years ago for my personal account. And now I think like, if only I had started doing it 6 years ago, if only I had done it when I started teaching English. So I think it's common to regret the things that you don't do rather than the things that you actually do.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because when I started Instagram, it was 6 years ago. And at the time, it felt like I was too late. I was like, I should have been doing this 2 years ago if I wanted to be successful, because there were already some people who were successful in that. And then when you look back, it was like, no. For some people, I was early, in fact. So always we think we're too late, but actually, no, like just, bite the bullet and take the opportunity, and you're actually never too late. And you know, you might think you're going to do one thing, but then you realize it's another thing, and you get your own pathway.
Exactly. I guess putting yourself out there opens up many doors, and it's a nice life lesson and motivational speech if you're thinking about doing something and you're worried about the consequences, just, forget about it. Bite the bullet and go for it. Everything will turn out fine, I'm sure. Now, moving on from that, you're English, right?
Yes, I am.
Whereabouts in England are you from?
I am from a very small town in the middle of England, just south of Birmingham. And that town is famous, though, for one reason, which it's the town of a very famous author.
Okay.
So maybe you can already start to guess, maybe.
Cervantes?
Watching. Huh?
Does it end in Avon?
That is my town. My town does end in Avon, yes. It's
and the famous person, his first name could be shortened as a nickname, which could be Willie.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Tell us, reveal it to us.
Yeah, sorry, I'm teasing you now. It's Stratford upon Avon, which is a bit of a mouthful. It's a bit difficult to say. But that's the town where William Shakespeare was born. And it's quite famous for William Shakespeare. So if you ever get the chance to visit England, or if you're living in England, I recommend, if you haven't already been, go to Stratford upon Avon.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never been personally, but that just makes me think about so many towns in England and the UK that are very difficult to pronounce. Lots of students are always like, that football club, they're rivals with Arsenal. Is it Tottenham? It's like, almost. You could say Spurs, of course, but no, we say Tottenham. And another example would be Leicester. No, it's Leicester. So Leicester and Leicester City. So there are lots of towns like this, like Stratford upon Avon, that can be a mouthful to actually pronounce. And it's a bit of a tongue twister almost too.
Yep, it is. Sometimes I have difficulty saying it.
So anyway, going back in time, what was life like growing up in Stratford upon Avon? What was your childhood like? What are the big memories that come to mind?
I think I had a very nice childhood. I was living in the countryside, really. So playing a lot outdoors in the fields, creating dens, like normal kid stuff. Obviously, I went to school. Wasn't the biggest fan of school, but I got through it. Then, just a simple childhood in English countryside, really.
And at what point did you start to consider going traveling, teaching English, and learning languages?
Well, when I was a kid, I never really traveled. The only place I traveled to was Wales each summer for holiday. So
Mhm.
I didn't really go abroad when I was a kid. And I think because of that, I was a bit deprived of traveling. So by the time that I was old enough to go traveling on my own, I was really motivated to travel. And that's actually one of the reasons that I started teaching abroad, is because after university, I just wanted to get out of the UK. Not because there's anything bad about the UK, but I just wanted to see the whole world, the big world out there. And I mean, that's also one reason that I started traveling, but it was also to learn languages. I didn't like learning languages at school. We did French, but as I become as I became a bit older, around 16, I started to meet a lot of people from different countries. And
Mhm.
I found that I was really intrigued in languages when I was like with somebody who spoke that language. I was always asking them, how do I say this? I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was working at a restaurant and as a part-time job, and there were some Spanish friends of mine working there as well. And that's when I started like picking up some Spanish. I was like, okay, so I want to go to Spain or South America. And that really inspired me to start traveling and teaching languages as well.
Excellent, perfect. So you kind of were soaking it up at work, and that I guess made you interested in it. And just to pick up on what you said there, just to highlight something you said, is that you picked up some words.
Mm.
So pick up, it's a phrasal verb, of course. We love phrasal verbs, and it can be used in many different ways. So, of course, you can pick something up if you're learning it without really actually studying it. So you can pick up some words in a language. You can pick someone up from their house, from a place by car if you collect them. And I was just picking up on the fact that you used pick up in this way, which is like connecting and realizing, like, I just picked up on that. Cool. I love phrasal verbs if you haven't noticed.
I can tell.
Maybe I can change my channel name to Phrasal Verb Lewis. Who knows?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So you speak Spanish. Do you speak any other languages?
Yes. So my girlfriend is Italian, and I lived in Italy for 4 years, maybe. So I speak pretty good Italian. I think it's the language that I'm strongest in now. After that, Spanish, and I use Spanish a lot for work, for traveling, and also got a lot of friends that speak Spanish. So I speak Spanish quite regularly, and I speak Portuguese, but my Portuguese is a bit rusty, we say. So
Mhm.
it's not like at its best right now because I don't use it so much. But I did live in Portugal for 2 years. I did an awful lot of Portuguese lessons, and I did speak really good Portuguese. But I mean, I can understand it, but I'm not so good at it right now. And actually, right now, I'm living in Germany, and I'm learning German, but I'm at like A1 level.
Okay.
So I'm doing lessons and I'm studying very hard.
Exactly. And you're starting from scratch. I like it. So you are a lifelong language learner, I guess, kind of like me. I see a lot of similarities because the language that I speak best is Spanish. And that's mainly because I lived in Spain for a number of years and my girlfriend is Spanish. But at university, because like you, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I found speaking to other people in different languages fun and like a game at times. I studied Spanish and Italian and a little bit of Portuguese at uni, but all of these languages except Spanish are really, really rusty. So I need to brush up on these languages. I need to polish them and improve them. And now living in Brussels, to be honest, everybody speaks English. But I do try to practice my French as often as possible. But the only issue is that because it's such an international city, everybody speaks all languages. So I
Yeah.
can easily speak to people in Italian, in English, in Spanish. And I should really go somewhere in the middle of nowhere in France where I'm surrounded by French and they don't speak English. And then it's like sink or swim. and I'll find out if I'm able to get by or not. So that's a good tip for anyone watching this. I think I've mentioned it before, but the best place to go if you're trying to improve your English as much as possible is somewhere like Stratford upon Avon, where I imagine there aren't a lot of expats and immigrants who use their own languages. So I suppose you'd be thrown in at the deep end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll be forced to speak English. The best way to learn without choice.
Also, now, just picking up on another thing you said related to German. If anybody here is watching us or following our videos, I imagine they already speak English to a certain degree. But if you were learning a language from scratch right now, like German, how would you start? Because it's a little bit intimidating.
Wow. I started by using Duolingo because that is the way everybody starts learning a language, of course. No, I'm joking.
Love it or hate it. It's popular.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy and you get to learn some words. It's a bit limited on what you can do, obviously, but just to get the ball rolling, I mean, a bit of Duolingo is okay. And so I started doing that. I also like to get like a grammar book, which explains things in English, and just start doing some like simple grammar exercises, just because I'm a bit of a geek with languages, and I'm just happy like with my little pencil,
simple,
filling in the gaps, and then checking the answer. Did I get it correct? Yes. Okay. I'm really happy doing that. But then actually I started doing lessons because that's the only way I'm really going to learn, especially in Germany, because like you said, in Brussels, most people speak English very well. In Germany as well. I'm living in Munich. It's quite an international city as well. Everybody speaks great English. Well, when I lived in Spain or Italy or Portugal, less Portugal actually, mostly in Spain and Italy, you're forced to speak Italian and Spanish. So you can kind of learn through life, just going out and speaking to people. But in Germany, I think you need to spend time with a native speaker or a teacher, not necessarily a native speaker, and just put in the hours and get the lessons. And then when you're at an intermediate level, maybe you can start going out and confidently speaking to people in German in the street. So I'm just finishing my first course. I've got a test at the beginning of next month. So hopefully I pass the test.
But language geek, you love that, won't you?
Yeah, we'll see. I need to study a little bit actually because I've missed some lessons because I've been quite busy. But that's life. But I need to study a bit. But fingers crossed, I'm going to pass the test, and then hopefully after the summer, I might start the next course to try and get to the next level.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm sure you will ace it. You'll pass it with flying colors, meaning you'll get a 10 out of 10 or whatever it's out of. Fingers crossed. So. Awesome. I would say related to this, my way of learning languages is always just to try and immerse yourself as much as possible. Of course, that is easier as you develop and improve, because then you can start consuming more content. But if you can make the most of any dead times to listen to a podcast, to use Duolingo, why not? To read some basic news, whatever. The more you soak up and the more words you pick up, the better. But ultimately, it needs to be fun. So if you enjoy using a grammar book or whatever, then perfect. If you don't worry. Find something else that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, variety is the spice of life, as they say. Try different things. I speak pretty good Italian, but like even now, like I'm gonna start this book. So Promessi Sposi is a famous book in Italian, and do the exercises because this book has exercises. And it's just if you're a language geek, you just got to find different ways to get engaged with the language always. And now I'm not living in Italy; it's even more important. I find new ways to get access to the language.
Variety is the spice of life, as you said. Cool. Now, apart from learning languages, Sam, in your free time, when and if you have free time, what do you normally get up to?
So I'm quite a sporty person. I like playing football. I play quite a bit of football and I boulder a lot. So like climbing, indoor climbing mostly, doing bouldering, and I like to travel. So every opportunity I have, I mean, I get to travel a lot for work as well, but also like I like to do 2 trips at least a year, go to another country, visit a new place, learn a new culture. Helps me learn languages as well.
Fantastic. So, speaking about football, obviously, I'm a big Leeds fan. Who do you support?
I'm a big Liverpool fan. I'm not from Liverpool, but yeah, there's not really a good team in Stratford upon Avon, so yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan.
And was it because of family or a trip or just watching them on TV? What kind of kindled the?
Yeah, so when I was a kid and when I started getting interested in football, Michael Owen was the best player from England.
Mhm.
And he played at the time for Liverpool. So that's why I supported Liverpool. And then Steven Gerrard played for Liverpool after that, which really concreted. And then the Istanbul game was when I was like 12, which everyone saw on TV because it was on national television. And yeah, then I was a big Liverpool fan after that.
For that famous comeback.
Exactly.
Wow. So this season, how do you feel about Liverpool's chances? And above all, what about the future with Klopp leaving and who knows who will take over?
Yes. So the chances of Liverpool winning the league this season are, I mean, there is a chance. There's a
It's
good
not looking
chance.
bad, you know?
I think they can do it. It just depends a lot on the other 2 big teams who are very, very good as well, which are Arsenal and Manchester City. They're very strong, but there feels like there is something happening with Liverpool and Klopp leaving. And I kind of think it might be written in the stars that Liverpool will win the league. But maybe that's just me sitting here with my Liverpool goggles and my Liverpool hat on, and I'm a bit biased. And Klopp leaving, yeah, it's going to be a big change. And we were very lucky to have Jurgen Klopp. So let's celebrate that we had Jurgen Klopp, and fingers crossed the people at the club will keep bringing the club forward and winning things and competing.
Interesting. I can sense that there's going to be more than 1 or 2 tears shed at the end of the season, especially if it's a victorious season winning the Premier League, maybe, or if not, at least, the Europa League.
Yeah, I think we want the league more than the Europa League, but who knows? It could be both. Who knows?
Exactly. Well, fingers crossed for you. In fact, it's funny because I have a friend who is a Liverpool fan. And during the pandemic, the first year of the pandemic in 2020 was the year when Liverpool, I believe, won the Premier League
Yes.
and Leeds won the Championship.
And there we
What's
go.
happening right now? Leeds are currently top of the Championship, and I believe Liverpool are top of the Premier League.
We're joint top, but actually we're second on goal difference, but it's good enough.
It counts. It's written in the stars.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, let's move on from that. And before we start cooling down and wrapping it up, finishing for today, let's just go over a couple of idioms and phrasal verbs that we like or we've used in this class. So, kicking it off, I'll start with some phrasal verbs because, I love them. To kick off is to begin, to start. And I just use the opposite, which is to wrap up, which is to finish. And other phrasal verbs I've used during this call, this chat, is to pick up. You can pick someone up from the station if you collect them. You can pick up some words. And I was picking up on certain things that Sam was saying. I was realizing and noticing them. And also to soak up. So they say that young children are like sponges when it comes to learning a language, because they soak everything up. They soak up new words. They kind of assimilate them. Whew. All right, I'm going to take a breather. Sam,
Phrasal
over to
verbs.
you. Phrasal verbs or idioms? Do your thing.
Well, I was gonna share with you guys my favorite, one of my favorite idioms. First of all, I had to think a lot about this. What was my favorite idiom? But I've come up with this answer, and I'm gonna go for it. I think one of my favorite idioms is to go bananas
Uh-huh.
because I don't know. It's I like visual idioms, and banana going crazy or being very angry just kind of makes me laugh. So yeah, when you use the idiom, just think of a crazy or angry banana, and it means to go crazy. For example, like the kids are going bananas, they're being very silly and crazy,
Mm-hmm.
running around, or it can be that somebody gets really angry. So, for example, my mom went bananas when I came home late. Okay, she got really, really angry, like an angry banana. So that's one of my favorite idioms.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, like I really like idioms. I like phrasal verbs as well. Just idioms are a bit more visual for me. So yeah, I enjoy them. I enjoy them a lot, and I enjoy teaching idioms a lot as well.
Exactly. Yeah, noticing that. I remember I uploaded something related to going bananas a few months ago, and I had a great comment from someone, which was, can you also say go nuts? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course you can. Well, I should have included that in the video. Oh,
I mean,
yeah, you
yeah,
can go bananas or go nuts, and they mean the same. I guess go nuts is maybe more American.
maybe. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah, they're both good. I've definitely heard English people use both of them as well, but maybe it could be more American. Go nuts.
Who knows? And then other idioms we've used during this call, right at the beginning, was to bite the bullet. If you bite the bullet, you just do something that you want to do or have been wanting to do for a while without really considering the consequences. So I think, okay, I'm just going to upload that video. I'm going to bite the bullet and forget about it. Let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, yeah, to wrap it up and finish off, what Easter is just right around the corner. So, I've been speaking to students this week all about Easter and Easter traditions because I know in Spain it's very religious. In the UK, Sam, generally speaking, do we do anything to celebrate Easter?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to do Easter egg hunts. So
Chocolate.
yeah, well, yeah, there's chocolate. There's chocolate eggs. You'd have chocolate eggs at Easter. But also, when we were kids, like our parents would hide Easter eggs around the garden in my house, and we'd have to go searching for them. And then we'd see who would get the most Easter eggs by looking. And then our parents would make us divide them equally. So there were no actual arguments at the end of it. So yeah, Easter egg hunts, chocolate. I don't know. I can't think of anything
That's
else.
about it, to be honest.
Uh,
That's
no, what
very
are they called? The buns, the
hot,
hot cross buns.
hot cross buns.
That's Easter, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, do you say a bap, a cob, a roll? What word do you use for like a bread roll?
A bread roll.
Bread roll. Just
Or a bun, maybe?
uh-huh.
No. Yeah, I would usually call it a bread roll, to be honest. Very boring. Sorry.
Standard, like you come
What
from
do you call it? A
Shakespeare's
bap?
place. Yeah, I'd say bap. Because
Quite
my
normal.
grandma always used to say bap. Do you want a bap sandwich or do you want a chicken bap? Which is like a bread roll sandwich.
Mm-hmm. I've also heard muffin for bread roll as well. Have you heard that before?
I'd associate it to a different thing, but I know
Yeah,
that
the same.
in the US they have like English muffin, which is like a type of bread.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I just thought there was like one specific place that in the UK that calls it a muffin, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm imagining it.
Let us know in the comments what words you have seen or heard to say a bread roll. And on that note, I think that's the perfect way to call it a day, to wrap up this Native Conversation podcast. So thanks a lot for joining, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure people have learned a lot more about you and about me. And fingers crossed, it's been useful to practice your English at the same time.
I'm sure it has. Thank you very much for having me, Lewis. It's been a pleasure to be on the podcast.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.